to be completing your Create a Creature mini project on Friday. Hopefully you got to draw your creature, make up some information about your creature, name your creature, and get all that finished. Today it's all about the population of your creature, and this is where the math comes in. So on Friday you should have downloaded the project and opened it up in OneNote so that you could write on it and you could complete your tables and graphs today in OneNote. If you did so, if you did not do it, then you need to do that today, and there is a video on Canvas from Friday explaining how to download the project and open it in OneNote. So if you don't know how to do that, go ahead and watch that video. And today I'm going to tell you how to complete the project and how to upload it to Canvas. So OneNote. Okay. So in OneNote, drew your creature up here on this page, named your creature, and now we're going to this page that's titled Life on Exponential Island. You're going to write the name of your creature, and now how many creatures you start off with is going to be a random number. So you're going to go to the website. There's a link on Canvas. You're going to go to the website random.org. And you're going to start off with anywhere between 10 and 100 creatures. So over here where you see the true random number generator, set your minimum to 10, your maximum to 100, and then click generate. My result was 44. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to OneNote and write 44 as my starting number here. Okay. Now initially our creature's population is going to be growing. Right? They got to their new island, they're thriving, their population's growing. But in order to find the population of the creature, we need to know by what percent it's growing. So once again, we're going to use our random number generator. So let's go back to random.org. And this time, we're going to generate a number between 10 and 70. We don't want to go high on our population, will get out of control. So let's go between 10 and 70, generate. My population is growing at a rate of 23%. So I'm going to come over here back to OneNote and go ahead and write my percent that I'm growing by is 23% right there. Now these questions are also on Canvas. When you submit the project, you'll answer the questions, what you rolled for your population and what you rolled for your growth rate. And now we're going to write our equation. So remembering back, this is exponential growth, right? Our exponential growth equation is actually y equals a times 1 plus r to the x power, where a is our starting amount and r is our rate of growth written as a decimal. So notice that they want you to write the equation in y equals a times b to the x power. We'll get there. We'll plug into our exponential growth equation, and then we'll simplify it to be the version they want. Oops. I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like OneNote closed down on me. Sorry about that. Just take a second to reopen it. Fortunately, OneNote is a cloud application and it saves everything you do. Okay, so when I plug into this equation here, grab a different color to plug in. All right, let's go with pink. All right, so my our starting population here is 44. So my A value is 44. And then my R value that I'm going to plug in is 23%, but remember I have to change it to a decimal first, and 23% as a decimal is 0.23. And I'll have my little x power. Remember, x stands for time. In this case, it's going to be time in weeks. And we don't have a specific number yet. You can see we're going to complete the table with a different number of weeks. Now for my final equation, I'm going to go ahead and simplify here just by adding together the two numbers in the parentheses. So y equals 44, 1 plus 0.23 is 1.23. So my equation is 44 times 1.23 to the x. Sorry, that's kind of messy. And then I can start filling out my population, or my table of my population. Here equals 0. Of course, at 0 weeks, that's going to be my initial or starting population of 44. And then my equation tells me right here that I'm going to be multiplying by 1.23 to go to each new week. So I'm going to take my 44, multiply it by 1.23. Let's see what that is. And that is going to be 54.12. We'll just go with an even 54. Okay, so my second week, I will now have 54 creatures on the island. And then I'm going to multiply by 1.23 again. Or if I wanted to, I could plug 44, I could plug my equation in the calculator, my y equals 44 times 1.23 to the x power, and just fill in a 2 for the x, 44 times 1.23 to the second power. But I'm just going to take my 54 and multiply it by 1.23. And I get 66.56. I'll go ahead and fill in the 12 here. Might as well fill in the decimals. So I get about 66.6. So on week 2, at the end of week 2, my population of my creatures is now 66.6. And I'm just going to keep doing this down the table. And then I'll create it. Once I have my table numbers filled out, I'll figure out a good scale to make my y-axis here, and I'll start plotting. Right? I know my numbers are going to start off in the 40s, but we'll worry about that later. All right, so we're going to complete the table and then complete the graph based on the table. And then, oh no, part 2, we have a tragedy on Exponential Island. There's been a deadly virus and there's no cure, and all animals are affected. So our populations are going to start declining, and we're going to see which populations are going to survive and which populations are not going to survive. Hopefully our creatures will all survive. But we need to roll a new number. So at the end of week 12, on the previous one, we will have a number there, whatever your individual number is. I'm just going to pretend like, let's say mine was 150, and I'll just put that there. But this number actually comes from week 12 of the previous page. Okay, now I need to roll a new number to figure out how my population is going to decline. So I'm going to go back to random.org. And once again, I'm going to roll a number somewhere between 10 and 70. I hope it's less than 23. 13, yes, my population is going to decline at a lower rate than it grew. That's a good indication that my population will survive, right? If it grew faster than it falls. So my rate of decline is 13%, or if I'm going to write that as a decimal, that's 0.13. And I might as well write it as a decimal, because I know that's how I'm going to plug it into my equation. And now since our population is declining, we're going to plug into our exponential decay equation. Very similar to the exponential growth, except we have 1 minus our rate of decay in the parentheses instead of 1 plus, because our population's falling instead of growing. And then plugging my numbers in here, I'll grab my blue this time. Y equals 150, which remember isn't my actual number. I just picked a random number so I wouldn't have to finish the table first. 1 minus r is going to be 1 minus 0.13 to the x power. And now to simplify that, a is still 150, but in parentheses I have 1 minus 0.13, which is a 0.87 to the x power. So I have my new equation, and I can start filling out my table. My initial population supposedly is 150, and then my b value, my scale factor, is 0.87, which means as I go down my table, I'm going to be multiplying by 0.87. And yes, I'm still multiplying even though the population is going to be falling. Remember, if I multiply by a number less than 1, I actually get a decrease. So if I do 150 times 0.87, now I have 130.5. And I'll just keep going down the table and continuing to do that. Multiplying by 0.87, 130 times 0.87 gets me 113.5. And I'll just keep going. And after I'm finished with my table, I'll come over here and decide what numbers I should put along my y-axis, and then I will make a graph of this information. And at this point, I'm ready to turn it in. Well, hopefully I'll decide if my creature survived or not. I'll find out down here in week 12. Do I still have enough to still have more than one creature on the island? Maybe, maybe not. Probably though. And at this point, I'm going to be ready to submit this. So in order to submit this, I am going to have to save it as a PDF. So I'm going to go over here to my home button. Well, last time I did this, I did it in the web app and not in the not on the actual Teams application. So let's see if I can figure out how to save this as a PDF. Let me see what this button does. I think that's just my clipboard. All right. Okay. So here's how it is in the Teams application. I will go to the little ... up here in the right corner, and I will click on print. I'm not actually going to print this out. Instead of this right here, send to OneNote, I'm going to click on Microsoft Print to PDF. Okay, and I'm going to print, let's see, not just the current page. Yeah, just the current page, because all my information's on the current page. Okay, scaling should fit to page. Orientation is portrait, all that's fine. I'm going to click on print, and it's not actually going to print out, it's going to save as a PDF document. So I'm going to find a place to save it. You might want to save it on your desktop, but that's up to you. And then I'm going to name it. Let's call it Creature Project. And then I'm going to click on save. And now my document is saved as a PDF here on my computer. And then once I have it saved, I am now ready to upload it to Canvas. Coming over here to Canvas. Okay. This is under a Monday module. It's the 1026 Create a Creature mini project assignment. And you'll notice you'll have a place to record the numbers you rolled right here. So when I rolled a number between 1 and 100, my initial population was 44. Then my percent increase was 23, and my percent decrease, my rate of decay, and the second part was 13. So I'll fill those in. And you'll notice there's actually 3 places to upload a file. That's because some people use pieces of paper to write them out and then take pictures of them. So for those people, there's a place to submit your picture of your creature, a place to submit your table and graph for the Life on Exponential Island, and then a place to submit your table and graph for the Tragedy on Exponential Island. Those are the 2 separate table and graph pages that we looked at. However, if you did it, worry about question 5 and 6. You only need to worry about question 4, and you're going to upload your file to question 4. Your file should include the picture, the graph, and the graphs and the tables. So just come click the Choose File button, find where you saved your project, which I saved on my desktop, and find your project. But that's okay. You'll click on your project, and then it will upload it, and then you'll come down here and just submit it, and I will have your project to grade. And that's it. You guys can let me know if you have any questions. There's bound to be some technical difficulties, but we'll be able to figure them out. All right, I will see you guys in class.